My physics teacher would be really proud of me if he got to know I was playing Dr. Sarabhai.
My physics teacher would know that I'm a complete sham. He'd be like, this is definitely acting. When an actor talks about, oh, I'm playing a waitress, so I bust tables for like 8 weeks and I cleared cigarette butts from the place and I swept. It's like, why? You wore the waitress costume, right? And the script was good, right? So everyone believes you. Dr. Bhabha must have been a bundle of nerves all day. I think by the end of the day, he doesn't have the energy or the anger to go at Raza. Have a drink with me, man. Like we did, I did something today and Raza knows.
Hello, welcome to E-Times. Today I'm here to speak to two very eminent Indian scientists. Nevertheless, the actors who've played them as well. So welcome Jim, welcome Ishwak. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Rocket Boy season 2 is upon us. I know you guys play, everyone knows you guys play eminent scientists, so here Vikram Sarabhai and Homi Bhabha. But let me ask you, back in school, how were you guys in science? Did you have a good aptitude towards it? What were your scores and grades like?
I can't repeat my grades. No,
They're too high. He doesn't want to show off in public.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just say my physics teacher would be really proud of me if he got to know I was playing Dr. Sarabhai.
Nice.
Yeah, my physics teacher would know that I'm a complete sham. He'd be like, this is definitely acting because Jim. Actually, I did. I studied in an IB school and I had to take higher level math because I wanted to take physics, standard level physics. I don't think I was ready to do anything beyond that. But no, I guess my interest wasn't there. It wasn't in chemistry, biology. Physics I found quite a bit fascinating, but kind of shallowly.
No, the reason I ask you this is because once you get the character, once you get the script, do you go back and do your own research, try to feed in certain more that what is written? Or do you then just stick to the brief that's given to you and what's put on paper?
You mean stick in more science?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd leave that to the experts. Now, why would I think I'd try to think more about my approach to playing the role than about like, of course, you hope that the science is absolutely right. And if there's something that you don't understand, you read enough about it so that you know exactly what you're talking about in the scene. But I mean, I don't know nuclear fission or fusion, it's, I mean, and I don't think an actor should or needs to know. It's kind of like when an actor talks about, oh, I'm playing a waitress, so I bust tables for like 8 weeks and I cleared cigarette butts from the place and I swept. It's like, why? You wore the waitress costume, right? And the script was good, right? So everyone believes you. There's no particular kind of waitress, just play the scene in an interesting, exciting, non-boring way.
I like being the waitress sometimes to a certain extent. So I guess, for me, it's also like, one, of course, we had time on our hands, so middle of the lockdown. You go through the script and I was always a keen student. So kind of got a sense, I tried to geek out on science. Again, from the point of view, because you really want to know not the nitty-gritties, but the outline of the concept of what this thing is, why this man pursued cosmic rays and not thermodynamics, and basic things like that, and what was the new science. It just gives you certain things, gives certain finer aspects or just certain finer strokes to the character, according to me. Sometimes you use these, sometimes it doesn't come to use. So it's just it's a personal growth, personal awareness. You get an opportunity to learn about a new thing or just brush up old skills. It took me down my memory lane when I was, back in school, because I just got all the textbooks, but I couldn't get past 9th grade. So, and I started with 9th. First few chapters, just killing time, having fun. Yeah, having fun with it. I mean, it's not necessary, but if you so you can keep going down the rabbit hole. There's no end to it.
But there must be a limit, right? Even to a method acting approach, as Jim said. Once you put the costume on, the actor sort of takes over.
So I'll tell you what, for me it's like, it's the script that sends me to these places. So if I read something, if there's a certain scene which talks about science and a particular physics experiment, so I'd go out and read up on that, not the whole, not try to understand every aspect of that subject. So I guess the cues come from the script, and you do kind of wonder a bit, but that is something I don't encourage too much. I mean, the advice I would give to myself is that stick to what is needed. Once the basic is done, then if you like the subject just because it intrigues you or interests you, then once you're done with your prep, then go out and keep doing it.
Right.
Later.
I also feel one of my favorite parts about the show, or favorite part about an approach of the show, is that it never feels like a science lesson, except for that one scene where I'm literally giving a science lesson on cosmic rays. Apart from that, I feel all of the science that was put in was something that came out of organic dialogue between two people that represented a thing that the person wanted. So he had to explain this thing for a particular reason in the scene, not just to explain, because I think the worst thing a show can do is try to be overly educative. I think it's like, I've come to be entertained. I have not come for a science lesson. Otherwise, I would enroll in a school.
True.
Yeah, it can't be didactic. It has to be entertaining, and you need to kind of find that
the balance.
Like, you need to feel like you're in Wonderland.
So one of the most fascinating aspects for me in the show was the dynamic between your two characters. It was almost like they are at loggerheads, and yet there is a respect between them. It's like, let's agree to disagree. So we got that, but between the two of you as actors, what was the rapport like? Was there any sort of agreement, disagreements? How did you guys resolve that, and how did you bring that dynamic on screen?
I mean, you're shooting over, 100 days? I mean, I don't know, 70 days?
This is a group that I've spent after my school and college. This is the clan, this is my gang I've spent maximum amount of time with.
Yeah, so there'll be all kinds of things. There'll be days you're really getting along. There'll be days that you're just tired and you're grumpy and you're grouchy. I mean, I was definitely grumpy and grouchy. Some mornings when you're doing back to back shoot, it just becomes tiring. And if you're really trying to give your all in the scenes, then you're trying to conserve energy outside of that. So in the beginning, I think there was a lot of like, no, it carried on all through. There was constantly camaraderie actually all the way through.
I always, so if your question is more pertaining to acting approaches and, conflict in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that we, since everyone is was so committed to the work, and I can speak on behalf of the entire cast and crew, people did do their homework and come to set with a certain approach. And while, for me as an actor with Jim, the thing was that while certain scenes I'd seen differently, where we needed to come to a certain conclusion. But I mean, what I felt, even though at that time, my approach was different, what I felt was that, he had come with a fresh approach, an approach which was intelligent, illuminating. So it was always, received in a very positive sense. And I always felt that, whatever he was bringing, it was rather than it wasn't like trying to push around anyone in the, he wasn't trying to be the gorilla of the room. It became an extra layer which helped me mount my, performance, find another motivation or something in the scene. So it only added to it. So the differences were good.
That would have been something. But do you guys feel it was your dynamic that was the real sort of fulcrum, the strength of this show?
That's how it's written.
Or was it the writing, or was it the characters?
It's always the writing. The writing had our dynamic as the fulcrum of the show, and the writing is the characters. I mean, character is nothing. Character is just what people say and what people do. So we had the words already, so many of them. And of course we workshopped and we rehearsed and we often tried to tweak and, make a scene. It changes, right? You shoot a scene and you don't realize what it might have felt like until you actually play it. I remember there was a scene in, there's a single shot scene right before Nehru comes to see the new reactor, all in one room. And it was about a 2.5 minute single take. And we must have done it 4 or 5 times, and it was intense and required real precision about how it was done, and also had a flare up of emotions and then a calm down, and all trying to solve a problem, and very frantic scene. And we must have shot it until from starting in the morning until about lunch break. And at lunch break, we were all elated that we got the shot, but also exhausted. And then we had to start to think like, oh, we've written a scene later with Dr. Bhabha and Raza, for example, where they're kind of going at each other at the end of the day. But I'm exhausted just from playing it. Dr. Bhabha must have been a bundle of nerves all day. I think by the end of the day, he doesn't have the energy or the anger to go at Raza. He's just going to sit there and have a drink with me, man. Like we did, you know, I did something today. And Raza knows, because he's made his, he made the cyclotron earlier. So he knows what it is like to launch something for the first time. A huge scientific achievement. So they both just sit there and have a drink, and we took out all the having a go at each other, and you can only learn that through the playing.
True.
You know, or you have to work backwards sometimes because you shot a scene, and during the playing of it you realize, my God, the build up, we don't need that. It can be way subtler leading to this big blow up. We don't need all these fights earlier. For example, you know,
Yeah, of course.
these are just things that, so it's always going to be a weird combination of all of the things that you said. There's no way to say it's only one thing.
Right, and of course actors feed off each other, right? So you guys were definitely stars of this season 1, season 2 as well. But now APJ Abdul Kalam is also going to have the spotlight on him. So can you guys sort of, I know Arjun is not here, but can you sort of reveal a little? Because I think a lot of the audiences sort of appreciated that he arrived in season 1, and they were sort of anticipating that, you know, they're going to look at his story in season 2. So what's the plan over there? If you guys can reveal something.
I personally really don't like talking about plot before something comes out. It's not a mandate that they've given me. I just have never liked it. I'm always like, just watch the show. So I will say just watch the show.
Okay.
But I will say that he fulfills a promise. He fulfills one of the promises of the show.
Okay. Is that an Easter egg? Ishwak, you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, the events are of great magnitude. If you look at the historical backdrop, you know, post-war, these men struggling, Homi Bhabha's desire to fulfill the atomic dream, and Vikram Sarabhai's desire to advance his space research. You see the trajectory grow in that direction. It furthers, you know, they further their ambitions. And along with that, you know, you see a lot of events unfold of great magnitude, brighter events, larger events, which, I mean, it'll be nice for the audience to explore and find out once the show is out. But at the same time, you know, what I love, and I'm personally looking forward to season 2, is it remains rooted in its ethos of storytelling, which is that simplicity, which is that beauty of those days, you know, the golden years, and which is for me the biggest victory of the show. And that's why I think it should resonate, it will resonate with the people. Also, it's very entertaining.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us at E-Times.
Thank you.
Best of luck for the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye.